The size of the biggest iceberg is truly remarkable. It is estimated to be about 3 times larger than the size of Luxembourg. It is believed to have formed in Antarctica and is believed to be one of the world's largest known icebergs. This gigantic formation measures a whopping 463 miles long, 23 miles wide and up to 2,000 feet thick at its thickest point. However, due to the ever-changing environment, it is hard to determine the exact size of this huge iceberg. The biggest iceberg is very difficult to measure because it is constantly changing its shape. It fractures and reforms over time, making it an ever-changing and adapted formation. The biggest iceberg is considered to be one of the most important pieces of scientific evidence about our planet and climate change. It is a reminder of the power of the elements and how they interact with each other. It is estimated that the biggest iceberg also contributes to the rise in global sea levels. By melting and reformulating, it breaks apart and allows warmer water from the seas to come into contact with the surrounding ice. The complexity of the biggest iceberg also allows researchers to ascertain and learn more about global warming and the impact on our environment. The biggest iceberg has been studied extensively by scientists around the world, and it has provided significant insight into our planet's climate and other issues related to global warming. The biggest iceberg has a very unique shape and has been studied by many researchers to learn more about our planet's climate. The shape is very unique and it is believed to have been formed due to a combination of natural phenomena such as wind, waves, and thermal energy. The biggest iceberg also provides an interesting platform for studying and understanding the melting and refreezing of sea ice. It demonstrates how its shape, size, and position changes in response to natural forces. This study of the biggest iceberg is incredibly valuable to climate scientists and climate researchers as it gives insight into how our planet is responding to the ever-changing climate. Knowing the size of the biggest iceberg gives us a good indication of how quickly glaciers and other forms of ice are melting. It is believed that if this melting continues at its current rate, it could lead to drastic sea level rises and flooding in many low-lying areas. The biggest iceberg also gives us clues to the evolution of the world's ocean and sea temperatures and their effects on our planet's climate. By studying its shape and size, we can get a better understanding of what is causing global warming. The biggest iceberg provides a great opportunity for scientists to study the impact of global warming and its effects on our planet's climate and environment. The study of the biggest iceberg is vital to understand how our planet's climate is changing, and how we can best adapt to the changes that are occurring. By studying the size of the biggest iceberg, we can better understand the effects of global warming and the impact it has on our planet. This knowledge can help us in devising plans to combat climate change and adapt to a changing environment. The size of the biggest iceberg is an indication of the size and magnitude of the world's glaciers and ice sheets. Understanding the size of these features is important to better grasp the effects of climate change on them. In addition, the size of the biggest iceberg can be used to predict future temperatures and sea levels. By understanding how much ice is melting and shrinking, we can better prepare ourselves for the future. The study of the biggest iceberg can also provide valuable insight into the effects of global warming on our planet's ocean and seas. By understanding the size of the biggest iceberg, scientists can gain a better understanding of how much ice is needed to keep our oceans and seas at their current levels. The size of the biggest iceberg can also give us an insight into how certain weather events can affect sea levels, such as storm surges and tsunamis. The size of the biggest iceberg can also help us to gauge the effects of climate change on marine species. If too much ice melts, this could have an adverse impact on marine life and food sources. Knowing the size of the biggest iceberg can also help us to understand more about the broader consequences of climate change, by providing a better understanding of how the oceans and seas are changing. By understanding the size of the biggest iceberg, scientists can use this information to develop strategies for adapting to the changing climate. It is estimated that the biggest iceberg is made up of about 10% of the world's global sea ice. This huge area of ice is one of the most significant sources of sea level rises, so understanding the size of this formation is important in order to better understand how this affects us. The size of the biggest iceberg can also provide an indication of how quickly climate change is taking place. By understanding the size of this formation, we can get an idea of how much ice is melting each year and how this is adding to our global sea level rises.